try this without looking at the script here. Blast Intermediate Unit 17's webinar series for our online learning hub. Today we will be Scott Ringkamp, and he will be discussing screencasting with you, which is a great tool to use in our flipped and remote learning classroom environment. Before we get started, we have a few reminders to avoid kickback. We are going to be muting everyone until the question and answer time. So Erin, if you want to go ahead and force mute everyone, we can go ahead and do that. Also, this session will be recorded, but one of our goals, so if you could show your face, that's amazing. That human interaction, that's what we're missing right now. That would be great. But if you aren't comfortable or it's not working, that's perfectly understandable as well. Also, today's presentation will be in a presentation format, and the end we'll do some question and answer. I believe Scott has some interaction, like interactive parts as well, so you will see how you can do the screencasting on your end too. At the very end, we'll be sending this feedback form. The feedback form is very important because one, it gives us what we need to know moving forward, how to cater this towards you. And also, if we go in the direction of Act 48 or if districts need to know who is here, this is a way for us to verify who's attending. So if you could please fill out that feedback form, that would be amazing. So am I missing anything, Scott? Or are you ready to go?
I think that's good. We're good.
Awesome. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Scott Ringkamp here. He is our online learning coordinator, online learning coordinator. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. Let's get started here. Okay. So this morning we're going to be talking about screencasting, and I just have a few slides, and then I'm going to show you some just very practical tips on how to do it. We're going to jump right into that part of it this morning. So not much theory, not much talking. Well, there'll be a lot of talking because it's a Zoom, but I'm going to do some demonstrations of just some various ways to pull a quick screencast so you can present it to your kids. So screencasting, and I love this definition here. This is from a lady named Kathy Schrock, and she defines screencasting as essentially the capture of all the action on a computer screen and while you are narrating over top of it. So the traditional form of screencasting, you can do something just like this. You do a PowerPoint presentation and you talk over top of it and you record it, and then you can send it out to your students, or you can just send it out onto the internet wide. And this is how you go to YouTube and you can find tutorials about everything nowadays. And a lot of those people are doing screencasts to record their computer screen and narrate what they are talking about. Screencasts can be made with many tools, and I'm going to show you, I think, 4 different tools today that you can use to create a screencast for use with your students. So these are the 4 tools that we're going to be looking at. The first one is Zoom, and it's not a screencasting tool in and of itself. It's actually a web conferencing tool. But as Becky said in the beginning, we're recording this session right now. So I have my screen is being recorded, and I'm talking and I'm narrating it, and we're going to be able to distribute this on YouTube so you guys can watch it later. And that is the definition of a screencast. So in one sense, Zoom is probably the easiest one. If you use it all the time for web meetings, you can just fire up a web meeting with nobody in it, and it's just you, and you record it. You share your screen, you record your session, and bam, you're done. You have a screencast done instantly, immediately, without downloading any extra software. If you're already using Zoom, which many of you are because you're here today. The next 3 tools, Screencast-O-Matic is a specific screencasting tool. That's the whole purpose of it, and it provides some extras over like Zoom and some of the other tools, some other options. But a lot of the options are you have to pay for. So you get a free version. The free version is no better than using Zoom or the other 2 we're going to look at. If you want to pay for Screencast-O-Matic, though, you can get some pretty cool things that you can do with your screencasts, including like editing, video editing as part of that, and combining screencasts together and side-by-side video and stuff like that. We're not going to go into the details of all that stuff because number one, I don't have a paid account, and number two, that would be certainly a training for another day because of how much it would be. There are also, if you have a Mac or a Windows computer, there are tools built into those that you can use to do screencasts. And I'm going to show you both of those tools today. So if you don't have anything downloaded, maybe you don't even have Zoom downloaded, you've been using the web version, you can use that. The built-in tools of your laptop that you're already using. And something new, actually, that I didn't include on this slide, you can do a screencast, screen recordings on iPads with the new software that they have nowadays as well. I didn't do that one because that'd be hard for me to to get in and show you through this Zoom webinar, but it is a possibility. And then the last thing we're going to look at is, and what you want to think about is, sure, you have this recording, but how are you going to share that recording with your students or your teachers or whoever you want to share it with? Probably the easiest thing, and the one we do, is YouTube, because it already exists. It's massively popular. People know how to get to it. And it has some options available, whether you want to make it a recording available to everybody or just have it only available to your students, you can do that. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that as well at the end. So that is that's kind of my slides for you today. I do want to show you the tools, though. So I'm going to start with the Mac. So I'm sharing, I'm using a Mac here to do my screen share here. And if you use a Mac, I have one here, you can do screencasting using the screenshot tool, which is built into the Mac. And we'll go here, we'll click on it, and you'll see at the bottom, let me see if I can move this bar. I don't know if I can move this bar. Oh, okay, here we go. Put it right in the middle. I don't know if you can see it. There it goes. You have the, you can take a screenshot of the screen. But new with the Mac OS is you can actually record either a selected portion of your screen or your entire screen. And if you do selected portion, it'll kind of give you a dotted line, and you can drag and drop it and record just a section of your screen. So if you want to cut stuff off or just do a specific window, and then you hit record, it'll save it right on your desktop as an MP4, I think, and you can upload it right to YouTube from there. So you have that direct option on a Mac. So that's the Mac version. It's called Screenshot. And it's a tool that's built in. So I'm going to switch over to a Windows computer here, and I want to show you the Windows version of kind of the same thing. So let me jump in here. My daughter just walked into the room, so I had to wave at her, and she's 10 months old. So so here we go. We're on a PC now, and if you have a PC and it's Windows 10, you have a program built into it called it's called the Game Bar. It's actually part of Xbox. If you've ever done Xbox, Xbox Game Bar is what it's called, and it's built into Windows 10 PCs. And if you open it up, it'll pop open this window here. There's lots of, it's mostly for video games. So if you stream video games onto Twitch or something like that, you can use it for that too. But it allows you to record your screen. You just come up here to the capture box, you hit the record button, it'll record the contents of your screen as you're narrating it, and then save it right to your desktop as a video file that you can then share out on YouTube to whoever you want to share it to. So I'm going to switch back to my Mac here and show you just the Screencast-O-Matic tool, because that's the other one I wanted to show you. Hold a second here. So Screencast-O-Matic is the third-party tool I wanted to show you, and this is the website here. It takes you click this launch free recorder, you have to install just a little program on your computer, and then if you hit launch, you get a little prompt to open it, I'll just wait here for it to start up. Maybe. Maybe my internet's too slow. This right, I say this right here is why I prefer using the ones that are built into the Mac or the PC. That's awkward. Let's try one more time. There we go. Okay, so this is Screencast-O-Matic, and the purpose of this tool is for screencasting. The nice part about this that you can see on my screen is that it automatically puts your webcam in the bottom right corner, and you can move that around. So the other two tools, the capture tools for Windows and Mac, they don't do that automatically for you. Yeah, they just like finagle with them, and it's kind of hard to actually get your webcam on the screen at the same time. Screencast-O-Matic does it automatically, and you can position it, you can turn it on and off, make it bigger, smaller, really easily. So if you want your students to see your face as you're narrating your screen, this is a fantastic option. Even the free version is a fantastic option. The biggest limit is that it's a 15-minute time limit. Honestly, though, I wouldn't do anything longer than 15 minutes for your kids anyway. They're not going to sit there and watch a marathon screen capture session. Do it in small chunks. So you want to maybe 5-minute sections. 2-minute sections are fine. 1-minute sections are fine if you get your point across in a concise manner and they can understand what you're talking about. It's better to err on the side of being short or splitting up your content into small chunks so people don't have to sit there for a long time watching you talk about something on your screen because they're going to get distracted. So you can toggle, you can do screen, you can do webcam, you can do both. You just hit the record button here, and then when you're done, it'll save it to your desktop. And you'll have a screen capture you can work with. And I already did one this morning, so I'm going to go down here to my desktop. Here it is, my screen recording. Saves it as a file you can work with and watch. I'm not going to open that up yet. So once you have your screencast made, and you need to be able to share it with your students or whoever you're going to share it with. And to do that, YouTube is probably the easiest tool to use. So I have YouTube open here. And if you go to youtube.com and you log in with either your school email address or a personal one, anything like that, you're going to have up in the top right corner this create a video and more button. And all you do is you click on this, you go to upload video. It's going to open a box. You can either drag and drop or you can click select. And let's find my screen recording from this morning. And then you come into your settings here to share your screencast with your students. You want to give it a title that makes sense. So the screencast was about adding an image on Google Slides is what I did. An image in Google Slides. You can do a short description about it. So something that this is for my third graders, something like that. You have some more options down here. You can add it to playlists. You need to decide. You need to make a determination of whether or not this is specifically for kids, and the content you're making for your students is not actually made for kids. It's a weird question. But this is like if you're creating children's shows like that, would be safe for a 3-year-old to watch for entertainment more so, and things like that, or if it has kids in it. So even though you are making it for your students and they are kids, you want to answer no, this is not actually made for kids in this question here, because then once you say yes, you get into stuff you don't need to worry about for just a screencast and a screen recording. Once you select that, you'll hit next. The next part is really about advertisements. It's adding like links into your video. You don't need to do that. You can skip over that. So we'll hit next. And you can see down here, it's still uploading and processing it. So in this page here, you have the settings for your screencast. You can make it public. And if it's public, anybody on the internet can search on YouTube and find it. And if it's something where you don't have any personally identifiable information, you're not referencing students by names, and you think it'd be a good resource for other people to use, you can just make it public, and people can find it when they search like how to do something. If your screencast is how to make a screencast video or something like that, you can set it to public, and anybody else can access it. You can do unlisted, and if it's unlisted, it's not accessible by search, and only people with the link can access your screencast video. In that case, a lot of times that's a safe one. If it's just for your class, you don't want other people watching it, do unlisted. And then the last one is private. And if it's private, only you can see it, and then only if you share your video specifically with named people, they can also see it. You probably don't want to do that, because if you're sending links out or posting it in like Google Classroom or Schoology or something like that, if it's private, people who click on that link aren't going to be able to watch it. You can also schedule it to appear at a later date. Let's say you wanted to go out on Monday or something like that. So once you have all that done, we'll just do public for this right now. You hit publish. It's still processing, so we're going to close that here, and you'll see it'll show up here. Here's all of our presentations from the last few weeks that we did. And then here's my new one here. The nice part about using YouTube is that it gives you kind of some statistics about how many people have watched it, so you can actually see, hey, is my class watching this content that I sent out to them, which is actually good feedback in an online environment. You want to know if it's being interacted with, or if you're sending these videos out and nobody's doing anything with them. Then what's the purpose of it? Once you have it here, you can click on this little view button, and it'll pop open on YouTube. It's not processed yet, but this will also give you the link here. You can just copy and paste this link into your learning management system, into an email, whatever you put it in, and they'll be able to click on it, access it, and watch the content you have created. So yeah, that's kind of the details I have for you on screencasting this morning, a quick tutorial on all those pieces. I'd like to open it up, though, for questions about this process, maybe the sharing process or the creation process. So let's go ahead.
Scott,
Yeah,
Scott, can I add one thing? For those
by
of
all
you that
means.
Chromebooks, or actually really anything, the Chrome browser, one of the uploads or extensions is Screencastify as well. So if you wanted to download, I know some districts have Chromebooks. If you want to download the Screencastify, I personally use Screencast-O-Matic for all of mine. Like Scott said, you don't want to make it more than 15 minutes. Your kids are going to want to poke their eyes out.
It's also
Unless,
available on Chromebook too, if
okay,
you need.
yeah.
But I
So
don't have extension.
So Screencastify, it only allows for 5 minutes free. That's the one downfall. And also, if you figure this out, let me know. But when I toggle between tabs with Screencastify, it loses, it doesn't, screencast and screen record from tab to tab when I switch. So that is another option for you. But that is something I wanted to add as well with Screencastify. The other thing, and Scott and I talked about this yesterday, some of you guys were asking about checking for understanding and things. We are looking to host a webinar on Edpuzzle in the future, so stay tuned. We didn't want to upload and give you too many things at once, but we are looking to do Edpuzzle. If you are someone that likes to dabble in things ahead of time, that is a great place to upload your videos and check for understanding. And feel free to reach out to us. The other thing is, just from the lens of special education, for me, when I was a teacher in the classroom, screen recording and screencasting were really beneficial for those students, because they could pause and they could rewatch, and they could, they always have this available. Not to mention for parents right now, if they're looking at, I know a lot of times parents don't understand how math is run right now, for example. It's different how we used to solve problems. So like if there's a screen recording, parents are able to check out the recording and then help their kids sometimes too. At least I ran into that in the Spanish classroom. The parents more than likely didn't speak Spanish, so they could watch their kids and learn at home. So that's something too, if you're going to use this tool as well. So it looks like, Erin, go ahead. Do you want to add something, elementary perspective, special education perspective, anything like that?
Well, I was just going to say John had a question regarding music. I didn't know if you saw that, Scott.
No, I didn't see it. What was the question?
He said he's asking if there's an easy way to toggle voice between the audio that's coming from your screen or combine them, because he's a music teacher that's using some apps. So I don't know if he wants to talk to you about that, or
You can with the I know off the top of my head the Mac capture screenshot tool and the Windows tool will capture audio from your screen and it's on your computer as well as your microphone. And if you can toggle between the two. So if you want to turn off one or the other, you can. I think, is that what he's asking? I can scroll back up.
Here, John, we can unmute you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Wait, hold on.
There we go.
There, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to try that. I've only ever been able to, I didn't know you could combine them, and I'll have to play around with that some more. So I have a Mac, so I use all Mac, but I'll try to figure that out.
You should be able to grab both the screen, the microphone audio and the audio from your screen, the screenshot tool.
Cool. All right.
Send me an email if you can't figure it out. Or
yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? You can type them or unmute you. We can. Anyone use it before? Julie's asking, Scott, on a non-Mac computer, what's the best or easiest tool to use to draw or write with a stylus to do math problems during your screencast?
My favorite tool to do any kind of whiteboarding type thing is actually like PowerPoint, because you can draw on there using a freeform drawing tool, I believe. Or honestly, you could do a Zoom and use the whiteboard feature and record that. I don't know if you have a stylus available, you could do it right on your screen if you have a touchscreen device. So those would be the two things I usually do, either like a blank PowerPoint screen with a drawing tool, or the Zoom whiteboard feature and record that.
Does everyone know how to access the Zoom whiteboard feature on Zoom? Does anyone need? Okay, do you want to share that, Scott?
I can talk about it. I can't actually show it because you can't see the Zoom window, but
see the share.
You can go to when you click on screen share or share your screen as the host. You have an option to share a whiteboard as well. That is in there. It's one of the options. So,
yeah. Any other questions as far as screencasting? All right. Hopefully you can play around with that this week. Check it out. If you have any questions, as always, you can reach out to the three of us. We're going to put in here in the chat, there's going to be 3 links. The first link is that feedback form. So please click on that now.